You're listening to
Wrestling to the Max.
Alert. Clear all channels. This is an exclusive
Pay-per-view review.
How you like that?
And your hosts, Gary Vaughn, Sean Garmer, and Paul Leeser.
Hello and welcome to Wrestling to the Max Special, or Wrestling Unwrapped to the Max Special number 17. And this is our time to let you know that we are glad to be partnered with 41mania.com and Last Word on Sports.com, and being presented to you by the W2M Network, of course. And we are talking all about that Royal Rumble 2016.
That's right, guys, and I am excited about talking about it. There's plenty to get into. The internet has blown up negatively, positively, and every way else you can look at it. So I'm sure everybody listening right now has their own opinions, but we got a whole panel of guys here that have theirs, and you're going to get a chance to hear them. I'm excited about this panel because we have some guys that have been around for a long time, and of course some new faces to our group, and also a couple of guys that are a part of our W2M network, brand new, and this is just going to be a great show. So let's go ahead and not delay any further. I want to go ahead and introduce everybody. Of course, we have our producer and our co-host, Wrestling to the Max, Mr. Sean Garmer.
Hey, everybody.
And, of course, the other cohort in crime on Wrestling to the Max, Mr. Paul Leeser.
Heyo.
And if you want to hear some New Japan stuff, that's right. You got to hear from one guy, and his name is Tom. Welcome back to the show, man.
Thanks, bud. Glad to be here.
And, of course, our good buddy from our Wrestling to the Max page. You've heard him on the Wrestling to the Max show before. It's been a while, a long while, but we're just glad he's going to be on this show, and that is Fonty. Welcome back, man.
Hi, guys.
And if you have been enjoying the show that we just added to the W2M network, Wrestling Unwrapped, you got to know that Mr. Patrick Ketza is on the show.
Pleasure to be here as always, and I doubt anyone enjoys the show.
Well, I will argue.
Always modest, that Patrick Ketza.
I know.
Of course.
But
of course he's modest about it. He's the reason they don't enjoy the show.
Jeez, that didn't take long.
And that's the guy who argues everything that Ketza says, and that is, of course, Mr. Harry Broadhurst, Mr. Raw Reaction guy, actually, too.
Yeah, you guys will have to forgive me tonight. Obviously, I don't sound normal. I called my first show of the year last night, so my voice is kind of shot.
Hey, it's okay. We got plenty of people to talk here. We got a whole panel. I mean, this is probably the biggest panel we've had since last year's WrestleMania. And, we have, kind of learned our lessons from that, because not only was it a great show, but it was also kind of a cluster at times because we were all trying to get our stuff in. So today we're going to have a little bit different format. Everybody listening, you'll get a chance to hear some changes we've made, but it's to the better, and I think it's going to be better for your listening pleasure. So, guys, without any further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump into the Royal Rumble, so let's do that now. And, of course, we are going to talk about the kickoff match briefly. I just want to let everybody know we're not going to get into this heavy duty, but we want to let everybody know that there was a pre-show match, and it was the Ascension, the Dudleys, Damian Sandow, and Mr. Darren Young tagged up, and, of course, Mark Henry and Jack Swagger tagged as well. There's a little bit of mixed matches there. We had a pretty decent match. What you would expect out of a pre-show match, let's be honest. But the victors were Mark Henry and Jack Swagger, so they earned their spots in the Royal Rumble later in the show. Not a whole lot to say here, but, this is kind of funny, Harry. We got a pre-show match that it matters, but at the same point, I didn't feel like it mattered a whole lot. Did you notice anything out of that whole thing that you enjoyed or didn't like?
I think it's funny that you came to me about this one because we were talking about it before we went live on the air. They say that Vince is a man of the people, right? Well, I think one thing was made crystal clear by the people in Orlando. they want more Damian Sandow. That dude was over as hell tonight, and by far the most over of the 8 men involved in this pre-show match. Take the hit, Vince. We're okay with Sandow being pushed.
Also, I think the pop was because that's the first time he had been back. I mean, I could be wrong here, in that regular gimmick, correct?
He's done it on house shows since they had to drop the Axelmania thing.
Yeah.
I believe this is the first time on television in the intellectual savior gimmick. Yes.
Yeah, I'm glad to see it back just because I think it worked for him. I know, we kind of had a separation from it before he disappeared into nowhere land. Finally, we do get him back, and he's back into it. So, I mean, at least he's around. I agree, Harry. I was so happy to see people were reacting to him. I was also, hoping to see him in the actual Rumble itself. That didn't work out. It is what it is. At least he was on the show somewhere, despite the fact that it wasn't on the main show. So, to each his own. But that's really all we really have for the kickoff.
Gary,
mm-hmm.
Just real quick. Well, Gary, honestly, given what happened to Swagger and Henry in the Rumble, I'm okay with the fact that Sandow wasn't in it.
Yeah, I can't say I disagree with that, to be honest with you. Is there anybody else on here that really thinks that there could have been better winners?
Yeah, I feel that they were wasted spots. When you seen all those names, was I the only one who expected the Dudleys just winning that? Like, I saw all the names. I was like, well, that's the Dudleys are winning that. And then, no.
Yeah, a lot of people thought it was the Dudleys.
Yeah, we did a prediction pool with everybody that was watching the Rumble over at my buddy's house tonight, and there were 9 of us in, and 8 of us picked the Dudleys.
I was like, no, they're tag wrestlers. They're not going to win. But I think the big...
Bubba did make his return to the company in the Rumble last year.
True, but that's before we even knew Devon was going to be around.
Yeah.
Does anybody think, Paul? Do you think that they'll do something with Sandow, or is this just one of those? He got a big pop, great. Nothing's going to come of it.
I didn't even watch the pre-show because this was so throwaway. That's how that turned out. I'm glad Sandow got a big pop though, so hopefully they do something with him tomorrow.
I mean, and it was constant. They kept saying, we want Sandow, all that. It's not like it was just for his entrance. It was constant for him.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I mean, legitimately, it was kind of a throwaway. You did get 2 spots. I think the stipulation was the only thing that kept me even halfway interested in this whole match. So, it's something really people don't have to watch, let's be honest. But, let's go ahead and jump into the meat of this thing. Let's go ahead and talk about the Rumble. We're going to start with that because that what really matters in this whole thing. And, I mean, there was lots of different storylines involved like usual. There was all these different things that went on. A few things I'll just mention offhand. We get AJ Styles debuting at number 3. Kind of cool that he started out early in a way because you got a chance to see him for a longer amount of time. Of course, got the Wyatts versus, Brock Lesnar. We got Roman Reigns versus the League of Nations involved in this whole thing. Chris Jericho was the longest lasting guy in the Rumble with like 50 minutes. And of course, Kofi Kingston, really not the biggest moment he's had in the past. I mean, this was okay, but still entertaining to an aspect. So those are just a few notes. I'm sure you guys will throw in a few other things. But, Tom, I just got to know, overall, what did you think about this match?
I thought this was the best Rumble in ages because, the last few years, everything's just been like throwaway until you get to the main part of it towards the end. But this year, like you said, they set up so many little things. They gave you a tease with Styles and Jericho. You got Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Of course, Brock was set up with the Wyatts again. There were just so many little things that made this. This was really good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, Tom, I mean, you said you were one of the best in a while. I mean, when you think back in history, I mean, is this the best you've seen in 5 years? How long amount of time do you think you would put between this and the last good one you've seen?
You know what? The last few years, I don't know, unless I'm missing something, have been forgettable. I kind of believe there was a decent one somewhere along the line the last 5 or 6 years, but not that I really remember.
Yeah. Hey, that matters. If you can't remember, that's an honest statement of how much it really mattered to you personally, and probably a lot of other people. Fonty, I mean, what did you think about this whole match? And were you like me, that there were some surprises here, but on the other side, there weren't really surprises. We kind of figured AJ Styles was going to be in this match. We kind of figured Sami Zayn was going to be in this match. I kind of expected something else, but hey, what else was it was?
Whichever one of you...
You know what else?
Whichever one of you got, I don't know if it was Gary or Paul, I think it could have been Patrick or Harry, whichever one of you guys decided that you wanted to allow this post to be made in the group after I made it rather clear that I didn't want spoilers, you guys are fired. I'm joking.
Who did that?
It was me the whole time.
Oh, no.
You're fired, Paul. Oh, my God.
Oh boy, but
back
to Fonty.
No, what it was, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Like I said, totally ate my words with the AJ Styles thing. Zayn was a happy surprise, and going right after Owens, that was amazing. Hopefully, this was his call up and not just something they show us. You know what I mean? Like it was like thoroughly. And Jericho going for as long as he did, really didn't see that. I probably had him in there for maybe 10 people, but he lasted forever. It was, other than the jobber, the pre-show match to get him in, like that those were just wasted spots to me. You know what I mean? Like you clearly weren't going to do anything with them. So I was a little surprised to see Titus O'Neil get the pop he did when he came out. Like, so that kind of made me happy because I really want to see that guy go somewhere. So it was overall a good show till number 30, and then we all knew what was happening from there.
Oh, man, Patrick. You're loving this too much, Patrick.
Give
me your piece. What do you think? You're laughing. You got to tell the whole group.
It was the 99 Rumble all over again, except the boss came out at number 30 instead of number 2. That's pretty much what it was, but I have zero issue with it. I expected Triple H to come in and win. I think, a few of us are going to be in Dallas at WrestleMania, but I'm still looking forward to the next 10 weeks to see how, things are going to go until we get to AT&T Stadium. And the road to Dallas was started tonight. You could see Brock and Bray, Triple H, and Reigns, how's Ambrose going to fit in? You kind of started to get a little bit of AJ and Owens and everything, so it'll be fun.
Yeah, and you mentioned these storylines are big. This is the start of WrestleMania, basically. The season is here now, and we're going to build up to that from here. Paul, I mean, all these different storylines, everything involved. I mean, was it a pleasant surprise, or was it just that everything you figured out was going to happen actually happened?
No, I mean, I really dug this the whole way through. I really enjoyed Dean making it all the way to the end, because I'm pretty sure everybody and their mother was still rooting for him somewhere in their deep, dark, black hearts. But the thing that I think really impressed me the most about this Rumble is that it felt like, even though they were touching on all these smaller stories that they're building up to, outside of what was going on in the bigger picture of the Rumble, it feels like all those matter. In the last couple of years, I feel like that's sort of what's been missing from the Rumble matches, that they'll touch on these little side feuds, but none of it really seems to matter a whole ton going forward.
Harry, what did you think overall? I mean, how were you feeling after you got this finished with Triple H, standing tall? I mean, did this Rumble match up to what you expected?
Honestly, yeah, I agree with Tom in that I think it was one of the better ones over the course of the last several years. And the thing is when AJ came out at number 3 and Reigns was in there with him, I guarantee you that if they'd have had Reigns eliminate AJ before the next person came out, the fans would have turned on this Rumble just as fast as they did on the 2015 version.
Yeah, I agree.
As far as shock values go, though, Sami Zayn was a nice surprise. we weren't guaranteed Triple H to come in at a normal spot, but the fact that he was there and they're going to use this to advance his storyline is fine. I'm almost curious to see what they're going to do for Fastlane now, and that has me interested more in the product than I would normally be. Plus, most people who know me know that the Rumble's my favorite pay-per-view, and I feel like for the first time in several years, the match itself delivered.
That's pretty high praise, because I know how closely you do pay attention to these, and being your favorite, I know you know the history of the Rumble. So, I mean, that's really cool to know. I mean, Sean, I was watching this match, and as we go through it, you have some people in the back of your mind that's going to show up. We got, of course, AJ showing up a little bit earlier than I thought they would put him in, but I'm glad they put him at 3. And, of course, we figured Sami Zayn. We kind of talked about that last week on our show. But here we are, and there was no Daniel Bryan. Did you ever expect any time for that to be a big surprise, or, what did you think about that?
No. Once AJ came out as early as he did, I think that to me made me feel like, okay, that's the one we're going to get. And then Sami Zayn coming out was a really nice, like, oh, wow, they're letting them have this little story. Well, it's like one that I kept saying this would be cool if they let him do, and then I didn't really believe it. And they went ahead and let him do it. To have the whole Sami Zayn eliminating Owens thing. It was really cool to I thought AJ would get eliminated really fast, and he didn't. And it was great that they took him seriously. They brought him out, 18-year veteran, IWGP champ. I know people are going to bitch about the fact they didn't mention TNA for some stupid reason, but they never mentioned TNA. They're not going to mention TNA now. Stop complaining about the fact they didn't mention TNA. In fact, do you think people didn't read? I'm sure somebody told WWE about that stupid TNA thing that came out 2 days ago. You think they're going to mention TNA after that? Come on,
I want to say something real quick that I don't remember who posted it, but somebody posted Dixie's contract, and it was written in crayon, and I legitimately laughed at that really hard.
Would not be surprised if that's how the contract went.
I want to ask you guys a quick question, actually.
Go ahead.
Do you think they made the right decision in having Kevin Owens be the guy to eliminate AJ Styles?
Absolutely.
It's the only guy that could have taken that heat, aside from Lesnar or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you know what? It's like you said earlier, if it was Reigns that eliminated them, the fans would have turned on that match. But with Kevin Owens, he's kind of like that AJ Styles level of the so-called hardcores. So it's kind of like one of their own eliminates them. It was all right. But if it was one of the hand-picked guys, like Roman Reigns, they would have turned on it.
Mm.
Well, that
was smart.
They kind of teased Big Show eliminating him. I guarantee you that entire crowd would have crapped all over that match right then and there.
Yep, they would have been chanting, please retire the entire time.
Oh, yeah. I got to ask this, Paul. What did you think about Braun Strowman in this match? His first Rumble, and he got a chance to look strong until Lesnar showed up. What did you think?
Had the most eliminations in the match at 5 as well. I don't know if anybody else got that, but he had 5. I was watching the show with some people who don't watch wrestling all that often, and when this guy came out, they're like, holy crap, this guy is huge, which, I think is lost on us sometimes, but, dude's big. And they certainly played him like a big man. He continued to not want to sell, even though Brock eventually made him sell, so that was nice. But, yeah, I think it was a fine run.
He looks like Ogre from Revenge of the Nerds, though. I'm just wanting him to go, nerds, and just start, tossing people over the top rope.
I would have been completely okay with that, Fonty. Completely okay with that.
You gotta love it.
As far as Strowman goes, I don't know if you guys have a chance to check out what some of the other people posted. John Frederick Cook, who's a member of Yes. I don't know if he's in Wrestling to the Max or not, but he posted a thing about Vince McMahon and Brock Lesnar having a conversation where Vince was telling Brock that Strowman's gimmick was that he doesn't sell, and Brock's like, "Oh, I'll make him sell."
Oh boy. Here's the interesting thing to me is the whole Lesnar factor in this, and once again, the Wyatt family just comes in, they do their thing until Lesnar shows up, and it's part of the storyline. We understand that. But, I mean, does this still just kind of continue on with really the Wyatt family not moving anywhere? They're so stagnant. They've reached a certain level. They can't go past that because WB is almost not allowing them to. Now Lesnar's that next big, guy holding them back.
Well,
Harry,
it's almost
go ahead.
forever. I've said they need a gimmick to where they need to actually abduct someone, but then they need to make them part of their family. Not like abduct Kane and he comes back like 3 weeks later, just like in a business suit, saying, anybody need their taxes done? Like, that drove me nuts. Like, you did nothing with that. Like, where did you take them? Did you guys go hang out at a bar? Because you didn't do anything to them because he came back fine. like, use brainwash. Like, ugh. It was just like that gimmick is so gold and they're doing nothing with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm right there with you, Fonty, and that's exactly what I was thinking as well. I mean, I just thought, you got these guys, they should be a powerhouse in this, and they were. But it's just, to me, I wish they could have done more. But they did it perfect. They did get Lesnar eliminated, so I can't complain too much. They still look decent. I just think at points in this, they weren't made to look real strong like I figured they could. But, going back to, I just got to ask this, Tom. Daniel Bryan was a guy that all the fans out there were really praying and hoping he was going to make his return here. Didn't happen. Were you anticipating that at all? Did you figure that wouldn't happen? I mean, I just want to know your thoughts on that.
I didn't think he'd come back at all. I really didn't.
Do you feel like that until you hear these cleared, you're not going to ever believe it?
Well, that too, but for the match, though, if he comes back in the Rumble and doesn't win it,
exactly.
People, that's happened already, so it's best not to, even if he is going to come back, it's best not to put him in the Rumble unless he's going to win.
Because after he went out, they just booed the rest of the Rumble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right.
I thought they might do that with AJ anyway.
Yeah, because when he went out, they were still chanting. Like I said, I completely ate my words there. I was just all like, here we go. And then, but he delivered. He straight delivered and didn't have to go over. That's what I keep telling people with the Reigns situation. You don't always have to win to go over. Like, you know what I mean? That's Austin back in the day during the Attitude Era. He took a butt whipping a bunch of times, but you'd always expected him popping out of somewhere on Raw. It's just, that's a whole different story, though.
Yeah, it is.
And when AJ came out at number 3, the first thing that popped into my head was Flair came out at number 3 at 92, went the distance, and I'm like, oh man, would they have Triple H screwed Reigns, and then somehow AJ wins, going from number 3 all the way to the end?
I think it would have made sense for AJ to come in and be the new Golden Boy for the Authority.
He's got the talent. I mean, I'm not going to lie.
No, I mean, I think the thing with he's still not the greatest on the microphone. Do you want him talking for 20 minutes?
No, but we don't need to open Raw with a 20-minute diatribe every week either.
Well, they're going to do it. It doesn't matter. Talking about that they don't need to do that, they're going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Sean, under that same line of thinking, Seth Rollins isn't the greatest promo either.
Yes, he is now.
It worked for Seth. That's all I'm saying.
I'm just saying, but Seth is a little bit different, though. You can tell AJ isn't the most comfortable doing that.
Triple H did not need to win that belt. His feud with Reigns could have been like, you disrespected my family and my married family, so guess what? You have to go down. And Lesnar. They were setting up the Wyatt-Lesnar feud. Neither of them dudes needed the belt for a WrestleMania feud, so it was just like it just almost seemed like an unnecessary win, really.
But at the same point, who the hell else can you put the belt on now? Half the roster's out injured. Your top star's booed by everybody. If you give it to an NXT guy or a guy like AJ, they're going to say he's pushed too quickly. So, in reality, who the hell else could they put the belt on?
But people can pretend like they don't know who AJ Styles is, like TNA's not on the map. They can pretend that all they want, but everybody in the world, if you're a wrestling fan, you know who AJ Styles is. If you're not,
No,
you're not a
but
wrestling
listen,
fan.
New Japan did this too, where they basically brought him in, shot him to the top. It didn't work out very well. I don't see it working out in WWE either.
I swear to God, though, if Sister Abigail is like that Claire broad that he knocked up, I'll snap.
Oh man, no. Let's not bring that up again.
Oh, see, and I thought I was going to be the one to bring that up.
Fonty,
Yes.
do us all a favor and hang up.
Ouch.
Jeez.
See, I wasn't the first one to get that on this podcast. Thank God. Thank you, Fonty. Ooh, man, I was close. Anybody else have any last things you want to say about the Rumble before we move on out of this? Everybody's...
I wasn't the biggest fan of how they had Roman just go away for that long a time.
Yeah.
I know he
99.
can't. I know, but it's just like, I know he can't last an hour like Flair, but he would have been so much better served doing it that way. And I thought they were going to, because he was being active for a lot of the match, and then all of a sudden, here comes the spot where we got to let him be gone, and it's just like, that's why the crowd booed.
He had to have that break so he could look strong later.
And that's a powerful IV. Whatever he took backstage, man, I think he's taken Stacker 2. I mean,
Stacker 2 still exists?
I don't know. There's something he took backstage. He probably found it in Big Show's bag or something. Hey, this is old. I'll try this.
I was really kind of disappointed in Kane's performance, because he always... does he still have the record?
No.
No, old.
Super Reigns does, yeah.
Overall, all time, yes.
Yes,
Single
yeah.
Rumble, no.
It was just like, did he eliminate anybody tonight?
No,
One guy.
he was out really quick.
So 43.
Kane dumped Truth.
Oh, that's right.
Ooh, like I said, did he dump anybody tonight?
Hey, my boy Truth. I love him. Come on.
Here, my final piece on this is I would have been 100% fine with how they did the whole Roman thing in the 99 Rumble, if not for the fact that dumbass Michael Cole and the production crew kept showing replays of what happened. It's like, oh, by the way, Reigns was never eliminated. He went between the first and the second rope. Here's what happened earlier. Okay, if you're going to have it be a surprise that he's coming back later, shut the hell up.
Yeah, just treating the audience like idiots. Like, we better bring this up because they might forget.
Yeah. So that's kind of the point, is to get them to forget.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the surprise later. Like, it was just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Exactly. There was everything encompassed this. Those aspects. The Roman Reigns thing. I think we could all agree wasn't exactly perfect, but then again, you kind of had to have something like that happen to make sense of why he's still around in the match. Even the R-Truth comedy thing, the Kofi Kingston little comedy bits, different things like that added to this Rumble. I think that's why a lot of us enjoyed it. I personally Go ahead.
I just want to say I was tremendously disappointed in Kofi's elimination save spot tonight.
Yeah. I am glad that they didn't try to, even though they really could have made this a 40-person Rumble and it really wouldn't have made a difference. I'm glad that they didn't waste spots with all the members of the New Day, all the members of Social Outcasts, all that kind of stuff. I mean, they kind of kept it tight, and you got the guys that you're supposed to get. You got a couple. I mean, I think we didn't get a legend this year, which was a little bit weird. But I guess it shows the importance of what they wanted.
Well, we've started off 2016 with a bunch of deaths. They probably didn't want to add to that. So they're like, you old guys.
Harold, come on now. Fonty.
Just saying.
Fonty, man.
You're going to put IRS in a bad spot.
Oh, man.
So
I didn't even put a name to it.
Yeah. Sorry. I had to. Michael PSA.
You know, what if they would have had Flair come out just for... I'm going for the title again, guys.
I kind of expected that. if they had 40 men, I would have had no problem with Flair being one of the entrants just to say, hey, talk about a throwback the last time the title was on the line, and now he did it this time that the title's on the line.
He was in the back winded from all the wooing earlier. Like, and did he basically, like, almost, like, forcibly force himself upon Becky Lynch? I'm just
We'll
saying.
get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
For sure. So don't, hold that thought, Fonty. I'm going to throw in one last thing, unless anybody else has anything they want to bring up. But the one thing I want to point out was you just got through talking about, the legends and all that kind of stuff. But, I think it's interesting that when Triple H, eliminated Roman Reigns, did the whole suck it thing. I loved it. If that would have happened earlier in the match, let's say there were still 6, 7, 8 people in the ring, and he does that, it would make you wonder if HBK was going to come out. And that's what I legitimately thought. I said, if this would have been earlier and did the suck it thing, I really feel like people were going to be excited thinking HBK is coming. So. But, of course, we all know he's not going to come, and he didn't show up tonight either. So.
You did The Rock?
Yep. No Rock. So, of course, we should have him WrestleMania, so I think, that's already been talked about with WWE, so that's positive. So.
But how bad? It came down to,
You're going in and out there.
You there, Fonty?
Yeah.
Like, and then and then it comes down to, like, Roman Reigns and Rock, and the hands up, and then Rock tossed him over. That would have been so much.
Yeah. You kind of broke up there a little bit, buddy. I don't know what happened. That's okay. I don't know why. Sometimes Skype is not a good friend.
Your virus is starting to leak into all ours, Gary.
I'm sorry. I think
It's your fault.
Yeah, just blame me. I usually get blamed for all the diseases.
Anyway. God.
I don't.
Gary, stay as far as humanly possible away from Sunny Side Up.
Oh, boy.
I will attempt.
Speaking of diseases.
Yeah.
Can we not bring that up, honey?
Yes.
I just
Thank you
want to
for
say
killing
that
yourself.
that everybody had enough respect not to post that trailer, because that was scary.
Yeah.
Nope.
Fine.
They would have been banned immediately.
And that's just because it was a bad trailer.
No, it's because...
All right, guys. So, we got to move on. We have other matches on this card we want to talk about, and just to let everybody know before we do talk about these other matches, that I kind of forgot about this, but we need to make sure everybody knows that is listening. If you're a New Japan fan, if you like CMLL, there is a segment we're going to have at the very end of this podcast that is going to be contributing a lot of different thoughts towards Fantastica Mania, and we want you to know that is going to happen. Also, if you're wanting to hear that sooner than later, you will see a timestamp on the podcast. Go check that out. It'll give you exactly when you can go listen to that. But we want you to stick through this whole thing, and of course, that'll be at the end, just to give everybody a heads up. Now let's talk about the Intercontinental title match. That's right, a last man standing match between Kevin Owens and Dean Ambrose. And boy...
It's not the next match before the Rumble.
Oh,
You're doing
excuse
it in
me.
the wrong order.
I am, aren't I? No, we're not. Yeah. No, we're starting the show out. We're going, back in time because we want to start this thing out, right? We're not going to go backwards because let's be honest. Why would you want to? But let's start the Intercontinental match out, and let's go ahead and talk about this. Now, Dean Ambrose does retain after a brutal match. I enjoyed this personally, but Patrick, what was your thoughts about this?
I thought this match was actually like one of the best pay-per-view openers I've seen in a long, long time. And it's two guys that won't kill each other, but they'll make it look like they're about to. And this match was incredible to me. And I think it lasted right on the border of about 30 minutes. And for Ambrose and Owens, from a, storyline, blah, blah, blah standpoint, to make it back into the Rumble, they look like they had been through a war. Well, at least Kevin Owens did. Ambrose was kind of but he also won it. But I absolutely loved this match. I thought it was awesome.
See, I was having a problem with this match for Patrick, was the fact that Ambrose and Owens were both in the Rumble after such a hard-hitting match. I don't think either of them should have been.
Wait, you thought that? Well, you kind of broke up for me.
I said that... I just realized how much like Big Johnny Laurinaitis I sound right now. I said that when it comes to this match, the biggest gripe that I had about the last man standing match was the fact that both men were able to participate in the Rumble, because I feel with all the punishment they sustained in this match, neither of them should have been in the Rumble match.
I'm right there with you too, Harry, because of the fact that they got so beat up. Kevin Owens sold it really well, if you ask me. Limping to the ring, and he did do a few things, but it wasn't overly crazy. Whereas Ambrose looked like he just had some of that stack or two of the reigns. He looked like he was back in it, like he was fresh, and I kind of didn't like that. Does anybody else have an argument against that?
I didn't have a problem with him being in the Rumble personally. One, because, Kevin Owens, being the glorious human being that he is, sold it. And two, the roster's so depleted, who else are you going to throw in there? I had to assume if you didn't want to go all out with the crazy amount of surprises, then you throw those two guys in there. And I'm glad they did, because Dean at the end was, I think, phenomenal.
And not only that, at least in Kevin's part, you went through hell to try and beat your rival, but there's still the fact that this is the world championship we're talking about. This is the top belt. Sure, I just gave everything for that belt, but also to try and beat my rival. And yeah, he beat me, but I still have a chance for the world championship. So in my mind, I don't have an issue with both of them being in there. I do wish Ambrose had sold a little more, though, besides just his shoulder, because now he looks more like Superman than Reigns does. After enduring such a hellacious beating, and then he walks out relatively fine. And yeah, he won the match, but still show something. But I'm 100% fine with them both being in the Rumble.
I agree. Both of them deserve to be in the Rumble. I'm with you on that, Patrick, though. I just thought, man, I just wish it sold it a little bit more. That's just my personal opinion. But wow, what a way to start the show for me, personally. We'll just pretend like the kickoff didn't happen. This is the best way to start this show. Last Man Standing. And Tom, I mean, did this, get you excited, just the way that they started this out? Because they could have started this out with the U.S. title. They could have started out with a tag team. But they started out with Last Man Standing.
It was a hot opener. They gave them all the time they needed. And when I was watching it, I was thinking, wow, this is like being back in the ECW arena back in the 90s. I mean, there were table, chairs, crazy bumps, and it was just well worked. And it was beautiful because, they were the first match, so that gives them plenty of time to come back into the Rumble later. People used to do that years ago, wrestle on the show and then do the Rumble, but it was also good because the match was so great. Imagine if they would have put that a little bit later in the show. How would you follow it, I mean, that was a hard match to follow.
A great point.
But it was great.
I totally agree. I mean, how could you follow it? And really, it would be very difficult if you put it later, especially if you put it pretty close to the Rumble. It would be a hard task for sure. So, anybody else want to say anything about the Intercontinental match before we move on? All right, guys.
I want to say that Owens sold a little harder because he took a lot more of the damage as well. You know what I mean? He was the one who ended up through two tables at the end on his back. Ambrose, he took that cell through the, over by the bed. That was crazy. And then, but he didn't take as much damage as Owens did. But I will say Owens is a consummate professional for coming out dragging his dead leg. That was just awesome.
Yeah, I love that too, honestly. That was a great, just a great way to sell. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, just one last point is this, to me, openly announcing that they're going to be in the match already, this to me is the happy version of what happened 2 years ago with Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt, where you have them kick off the show. They both, this time they both ended up in the Rumble, but even the loser drags his, deadweight ass out there, in the end for a shot at the World Championship. To me, it's things like this that are why the crowd didn't turn on the Rumble match as much as they did like 2 years ago when everyone was expecting Daniel Bryan to come out because he had 2 hours of recoup time, following his match with Bray Wyatt, and then he doesn't show up. So I think this was kind of the happier version of how to have a really hard-hitting, brutal match at the beginning of the show and then still have everyone out there because they've had 2 hours of recoup time.
Fair enough. Yeah, I definitely see your point. All right, guys. Well, that is the Intercontinental match. Dean Ambrose is your champion still. We're going to move on, though, and talk about the Tag Team Championship belts. And the New Day faced off against the Usos. And, of course, as usual, the New Day come out and cut a promo, kind of be funny. Get to see the new trombone. How beautiful is she? That trombone is just, shiny and brand new. I know people are excited about that. I mean, I was a little bit terrified for that trombone, though. I thought that someone was going to snap it in two. But, Paul, I mean, we got a full match here. The New Day are the victorious. They do their normal shenanigans. What was your thoughts overall?
I thought these two put on a really fun match. As somebody said, I think it was Tom said that they made Dean and Kevin certainly put on a match that would be hard to follow. And these two, I think they tried. They did what they could, and they didn't make it on the floor, which might be all you can ask.
Did anybody, really feel like the Usos were going to have a chance to win this? I mean, I know there were people out there who may have predicted them, but I didn't see as many as I expected. What do you think, Harry?
I didn't think the Usos had a snowball's chance in hell here. I think the Usos' time around those tag titles right now should be done and over with, and honestly, they need to undergo some kind of gimmick overhaul now because, frankly, their act is getting stale.
Fonty, do you think that too? Do you really feel like this Usos thing is stale?
I do, but it's like I almost blame the New Day for making everybody else seem lame. Like it's for everybody who hated on that gimmick when it first came out, myself included. I was like, what are they doing here? They just gave them stupid colors and threw 3 guys together and made them go out there. And over the course of time, they've just evolved into this like thing you love to hate. But, Kofi coming out, just clapping and skipping that, I giggle like a little schoolgirl every time it happens. And the unicorn, who saw them being as big as... Nobody here can honestly say they saw New Day being this big. And it's just, I don't see the belts leaving it. Who's going to step up and take them in the tag team division right now? There's honestly nobody. They dropped the ball with the Ascension. Like, the NXT Ascension, way better than this watered-down WWE version. Like, I don't know. Somebody needs to step it up because New Game just raised the bar.
I got 4 words for you, Fonty. Enzo and Big Cass.
Don't even get me started on that because I will murder people. Like, why is the two most charismatic dudes basically in the company being just held down, like foot under throats? Like, they're almost getting the Tyler Breeze treatment, really.
Yeah, you're right. It's funny. We just got through talking about the Rumble not long ago, and we didn't even mention Tyler Breeze. That's how
he was so insignificant to the
exactly. Yeah. And that wasn't not on purpose. That was definitely on purpose. So it's just a shame. And I you brought up the point about the Usos. I totally agree with that. I mean, I don't know how they're going to fix that, Sean. I mean, how would they change these guys to make them work? I mean, what can you do new with them?
Other than turning them and getting them some kind of edge or something, I don't see it. They're the Usos. They're the John Cena of the tag division. They are what they're going to be, I think.
Which is the problem, because they don't have the promo skills, nor do they have the in-ring ability.
Jimmy does. Jimmy does if you let him. But,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. John married Trinity, and she's bringing him down. It's just the only thing they can do with them at this point, and I don't even know that I'd want to see it, is stick them with Reigns and have some sort of Samoan Suicide Squad or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, just that at this point.
Samoan
What
Dynasty?
else? Yes, yeah, something, anything. But it's they have to be tied to somebody right now because they themselves cannot get over it. They even tried the heel thing there for a while, and it just didn't work either. It's something else. All they do with the Usos is what they do with Cena. They change a color scheme and slap them on the ass.
Let's be fair. They were over until Jay got hurt. Then New Day came along, and now it's like, and even New Day, you go to certain places, New Day's not as over as they are in other places. There's sometimes New Day go out there, and for the 10 minutes they're out there, crickets. I'm just saying, don't think that, New Day is a total, always universal thing. New Day is a very much an internet thing that is loved, and they get a lot of press for that too.
Can I real quick give a shout out to Big E for that ending? It looked beautiful.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
the one where he catches.
The sturdiest catch I've seen in wrestling history.
Yeah, that was friggin' awesome.
Except I want my one major complaint to also be to Big E, because I saw way too much of him and way more than I would ever want to see from him during the victory humps.
That happens.
Patrick, now you say that, Patrick, I am going to tell him right where you're sitting at WrestleMania.
Yep.
That way he points that right at you.
And I will say that
autograph.
they're also consummate professionals, because when the whole social jobbers comment came out, he went up to bat for them and was like, that's not cool. Like, he was one of the superstars who was like, hey, shut your mouth. Like, and he didn't have to. That had nothing to do with him. He didn't have to say anything. But Big E was all like, hey, shut up. Like, So,
which, by the way, no Josh in the Rumble, thank God.
Yeah. Ooh, too early.
No, we could have had another Daniel Pewter situation. That wouldn't have been good.
I think we already do. Like, what are they going to do with him after this? This incident is like something that didn't get swept underneath the rug. A lot of people know about it. It's left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. And I think we may be, just if you went tough enough, just shoot yourself in the face. So, I mean, that way you're at least going to be known.
Fonty, my God.
but that way you're going to have a name for yourself. Like, go back, give me a list of winners. Who's done anything?
John Morrison.
Didn't win.
Yes, but where's Morrison now?
Lucha Underground is something.
Still in Lucha Underground?
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where if you win and you won a career in WWE, it seems to not go any. It seems to almost hurt you to win tough enough. It really does.
Well, The Miz didn't win. He's also there.
Patrick?
Yes.
Morrison didn't win tough enough. Hennigan won.
Oh, that's right.
So,
It doesn't matter. He was still part of Tough Enough.
I know. I didn't say part of it. I said win. And the winners seem to be that seems to be the curse. Is the winning.
That's on WWE. They pick the worst winners.
Yeah, that's true. And you asked what could they do with Josh to evolve. So, he's got to start somewhere, and he's to start at the very bottom.
Oh, he's going to, and it's going to be a hard crawl up for him because somebody said something about they're going to give him the Miz treatment. They're going to make him like dress out in the hallway, and I think it was Cody Rhodes. Who's like, yes.
Here, this is something that Harry and I were talking about. You want to also a consummate professional in somebody like Cody Rhodes who never breaks character. If you do something that causes Cody Rhodes to break character, you effed up badly.
Yeah.
You done goofed.
We're devoting way too much time on this wasted of a roster spot, but that's beside the point. Let's move on.
Yeah, you're right, Harry. Let's definitely move on. All right, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and talk about the United States Championship match. This is the one I know you want to talk about, Harry. This is a match where, we were wondering, is Kalisto going to get a chance to be a second-time U.S. champion? And it happened. Alberto Del Rio, pretty okay, but, this was a match that I'm really curious, Harry. How did you feel about this one overall?
1-2 was a signed it case of law. As far as the match goes, I actually I actually think they made it work pretty well. I mean, the two matches on free TV were better, but that's because the two matches on free TV were cleaner. With that being said, I think Kalisto still looked impressive, even if he did kind of whiff on Code Red tonight. And I think that with Del Rio confirmed for the Rumble, whereas Kalisto wasn't, they made the right decision in putting the belt back on Kalisto. As far as the match goes, nothing special and nothing we haven't seen them do better before.
Anybody else have any thoughts on that?
I mean, I think this was a match that here at the Rumble. I think they jumped the gun and tried to have it on Raw, and then that's why Del Rio immediately got it back on SmackDown so they could do it in front of a much larger audience at the Rumble.
I mean, I think those last two matches were just shortcuts to trying to build this to something that you might care about. The only problem with this match is that there's fair too many botches. I mean, it's a fine match, but the botches really take it. Like Kalisto, whenever he was going for the wheelbarrow, slides too far and almost lands on the crown of his head. That's frightening.
Yeah. But is that him, or is that Del Rio back into lazy mode now that he's got that guaranteed money again? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, somebody done goof there.
Yeah, I felt terrible that Kalisto wasn't able to hit the step-up Code Red, because that might be the first time I've ever seen him mess that up. And I've watched him, throughout his Chicago indie time and a lot of his time, and I've never seen him mess that up. That's the first time ever.
I'd put this more on Del Rio than I would Kalisto.
That's fair.
Yeah, I can understand that. This is just a proving point of what WWE's is trying to do. I think they really are trying to get Kalisto to that next level. Like, everybody I think has kind of talked about that before, so this is nothing new. Del Rio still just looking the same, just does not excite you. Tom, I mean, this is a guy that I hate to say it, but I kind of wouldn't mind him going on and doing something else. Heck, I would have been okay if they would have straight up traded AJ Styles for him, to New Japan. I'd love to see Alberto Del Rio over in New Japan compared to what he's doing here in the WWE. What is your thoughts about that?
Well, look what he had in AAA and Lucha Underground, and what he would have if he were to go to Japan. He'd be a main event guy, whereas here he's just another guy. It's all in the presentation, though. He's just another guy. He wrestles like another guy. If he's in the main event, he wrestles like a main eventer. So he kind of plays to the level of where he's slotted almost, I guess.
I think there's a problem with that, though, in that I feel like if you're a WWE contracted talent, you should be doing everything you can to go out there and bust your ass for those paying fans every chance you get.
Well, I agree, but I'm just, that's the way it comes across, so, it's just...
Yeah, it's very true, though, Tom. I mean, I totally agree with that, though, because he's a guy that he's got the talent. He's proved it when he was in Lucha Underground. I mean, he was a thrill to watch. I was reinvigorated watching him there. Just El Patron is a completely different guy compared to Alberto Del Rio, and I know which one I like more, and it's definitely not a Del Rio. I hope he gets better. We got to get something going.
And you know what else? On the Kalisto, now that they put the belt back on him, why can't they do something like this? Take that belt. You don't have to call it the junior title or the cruiserweight title, but just make that belt have Kalisto against Neville and guys like that, the smaller guys that you can fly and stuff, and let them do their own thing, have their own segment, Maybe that'll get them up to the next level.
Been saying that for years. Because, regardless, TNA's on this decline, now, but when did that start? Nobody wants to agree with me, but it was when they started taking focus off the X Division and started putting it on these heavyweights, and the X Division was their bread and butter. And, when they lost focus off that, the product went downhill. Same with WWE. The cruiserweight division, when they brought it in from WCW, was one of the most exciting things. I miss it. I wish they would do something like that.
Yeah. They need I think they just need to, completely get rid of it and make it make a Y division, that way that everybody can come and, be a part of that, because they can't use the X division. That's already someplace else.
Yeah.
Boo. Boo on you for that one. Boo.
Oh, God.
I know.
I straight no-sold that joke if you didn't know.
I know you did.
I think
It was
everybody
terrible.
should have no-sold the joke.
Yeah.
Gary,
Yes.
I hope El Torito unplugs your computer again.
No, don't say that. Sit down, but Doritos. You mentioned his name. Now he's got to stand up again. Anyway.
Boy.
Yeah. Terrifying. I'm nice enough to let you sleep on the couch. So I'm a good guy. So anyway, let's move on and let's talk about another match that you guys, I'm sure, are thrilled about talking about because actually it was not bad, if you ask me personally. But the Divas match, that's right. We got to talk about Charlotte versus Becky Lynch, and Charlotte is victorious here, but not after to me, a pretty good match here. Sean, I mean, did you have the same opinion as I did?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Loving the story going in. It actually kind of kept me clued in more than I would have if it was just, any of the old Divas matches or whatever. I thought they did well with having Flair involved or whatever. The finish sucked, but, other than that, I thought it built well and everything. Just there was a couple of botches in there, too, that kind of, not as bad as the Kalisto and Del Rio, but it was there. Kind of sucks for them. But I think overall it was pretty good still.
I mean, I'm right there with you, and I'm looking at this match, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, we've got what we can get out of it, and we've already got the next level coming, and what's going to happen next with the Divas title, and that's Sasha Banks. Is there anybody else that thinks that this could be really something special? Besides me, I imagine it could be something that could be definitely a WrestleMania level match. I think that's where they're leading to. But does anybody disagree with that?
I hate the fact that Charlotte was up as quickly as she was after being put in the bank statement.
Yeah, that's true.
I really hope that they find a way to make it a triple threat. Honestly, Becky doesn't deserve to get just knocked out like that.
Go ahead.
Especially since she took the licks at the end of the match, right?
Well, they can obviously end the tiff between her and Sasha on Raw before you get to that, but I just think Becky has been the reason that feud has actually been really good, and then you take her out of it there at the end because Sasha's been out. Just that kind of sucks.
Yeah, and if you're not going to give her the WrestleMania, payday, you might as well give her at least a Fastlane payday, before you pull her out of that.
You could do that. They could do a number one contenders thing with her and Sasha Fastlane.
I honestly think we're heading towards a four-way for the Divas title at Mania between Charlotte, Becky, Paige, and Sasha.
I think they're going to end up... Sorry, go ahead.
No, dude, go for it. You've been waiting to talk for a while.
The problem is, when I did see Sasha put the bank statement on Charlotte, my first thought was, Becky's going to suffer from Bayley syndrome. She's going to get left behind. And that's not something that I want because, truth be told, out of the three, the one who has the belt is the weakest, but she also has, the least amount of time. And, we've talked in the past and have seen in the past what Becky and Sasha can do, when they're given the opportunity. I called it one of the best. I think I called it the best women's match that the WWE had ever put on in Sasha versus Becky. So I don't want to see Becky get thrown by the wayside. So I'm hoping, if they let it be Sasha and Becky like at Fastlane for number one contender, sure, Sasha's probably going to win, and Sasha will probably win at WrestleMania. But it could still be a good chance for, Becky to show that she can put on a hell of a match, which she did tonight. And I think most of the botches were on Charlotte above anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, Becky's got it all right now. She's got the looks, she's got the talent. She's doing it all.
Well, I actually want to commend WWE for the video package they did for her, building her up that they showed on the pre-show, and they showed it again before the match. that was actually really well done. It's something we're used to seeing from NXT or whatever for the Divas, but they did it well here. And I think it really kind of brought you into her and everything and made you care about her even more than they already did. And then, and then the way they ended that match, too. The only thing I will say the way they ended that match is Becky still has a gripe because it ended because Flair got involved. So
why was that not a DQ, by the way? He threw his jacket. That's outside interference.
I
I
don't know.
DQ?
It looked like the referee was trying to figure out whether I want to kill a title match because of that or not,
Should have sent Flair to the back and let it continue.
Yeah. Sorry, Paul, we kind of cut you off.
No, you're good. Completely fine, because, Patrick nailed everything I was going to say.
Well, the one thing I got to ask you, Paul, then is, Sean, I think, mentioned it just a few minutes ago about the fact that, this can't be the last we see of Becky Lynch. She's still going to be in this picture somewhere. Wouldn't you also argue the fact that, Paige should be coming back soon, and maybe she's in this picture as well?
I mean, I've been saying the last couple of weeks on the podcast that the WWE cannot help themselves with multi-people matches at WrestleMania. And the Divas usually always get that treatment, and I think Harry might have nailed it on the head. We might get that four-way with Paige and Charlotte, Sasha, and Becky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, it just seems like that could be the case here. We'll have to follow that as time goes. But I just think it's interesting because they actually do finally have a group here that could actually have potentially a really, really good feud, good match, and just have everything that we want to see in the Divas title ranks. So.
And don't forget the rumors of Stephanie training for something at WrestleMania. So,
yeah.
I hope it's not that, but, I mean...
I think that's her just playing around on Twitter, honestly.
I certainly hope so.
I was kind of hoping it would be something where she faces David Arquette or something,
Oh, God.
Stephen Amell's going to be there. Why couldn't David Arquette be there?
Talk about a dream match.
Yeah, Stephen Amell and David Arquette right there.
Dude, everybody wants to crap on Amell, but for the amount of time he had to practice, I thought he did surprisingly well. Like, you know what I mean? He does his own stunts. He came in and just was
I don't think anybody... the only thing we said was that you're an actor, you should be able to sell. That was the only problem that we had.
But was that explained to him properly? You know what I mean?
No, and I agree with you that he might not have been... And he may have been told not to sell anything because he's supposed to be a superhero. His character is.
That's true, too.
I don't know.
Getting back to it, my final personal thought on this match is this 15 minutes, because I think the match was just off of 12, plus the promo, plus everything with Sasha, to me, did more for the quote-unquote Divas Revolution than the previous 6 months.
Yeah. Anybody have arguments against that? Anybody?
No, I mean, that's a totally fair statement. I don't know if it's still that match that lands and launches the Revolution towards that level where people are going to start getting into it, but it certainly did it a lot of favors.
Sure.
Minus Ric Flair sexually assaulting Becky Lynch.
Yes.
Well, yeah, that was awful.
I got a little worried there.
That's a total Flair move, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, kiss stealing, blah, blah, blah.
You'd be like, she didn't say no, she said nah.
Oh, boy. Let's try not to get in too much trouble.
Yeah, let's move on.
So we are going to move on, guys, and this completes our Royal Rumble card, but we have some other things we need to do, like, maybe have a best match. But go ahead. Go ahead. What's up?
Just real quick, Gary, I think it was you that pointed out that Strowman had the most eliminations. Him and Roman Reigns tied with 5 each.
Oh, okay.
Good to know.
Yeah. So there you go, guys. Well, we've covered all the matches. We've got everything, but we have to, kind of talk about some things that we really enjoyed in this. And we're going to talk about the best match. Now, I think there's a split decision here because I think about half of us may like the Last Man Standing and about half of us may think the Royal Rumble deserved to be the best match of the night. We're going to start with the Last Man Standing, though. Who honestly thought the Last Man Standing match was the best of the night?
I did.
Patrick and Sean?
I did too.
Yeah.
Paul?
Yeah.
Okay. See, yeah, that's pretty close. I mean, that's 3 of you guys. Anybody else want to call up that that's the best match of the night? So out of the 7, so I mean, 3 out of 7 is not bad, and that's all close to down the middle. I'm always a fan of the Rumble. It's the only reason but take me out of it. It's pretty much a split decision. Kind of explain to me, Sean, why you think it's the best match of the night.
I think the intensity going in, the way they were just trying to just outright kill each other. You know, Owens was doing everything he could to take out Ambrose. Ambrose was doing anything he could to take out Owens. I just feel like it was personal, and they showed it there. And I think also the surprise of, I think a lot of people thought Owens would take this thing, and because you thought, okay, if the only guy that's going to get in the Rumble is the guy that wins, and then they both get in, but Ambrose retains, I think that was a total surprise for a lot of people.
Fair enough. Now, let's talk about the Rumble. Now, there are 3 of you other guys. We got Fonty, we got Tom over here, and of course we got Mr. Harry Broadhurst, who really think that the Rumble was the one. Now, we heard Tom kind of talk about it a little bit, but, Fonty, give me your thoughts on why you think the Rumble was the best match of the night.
It just had like a little couple surprises here and there. We all thought that maybe Styles would be there, and he came and delivered. Zayn was a surprise for me. I really didn't think they would call any of the NXT guys up, considering the amount of slots they had left. I mean, it was just, and it was a good match, like all the way around. They set up feuds. They did a Rumble for the first time in many years, the way they should be. Like it played out the way it should, except Triple H won. I mean, that's, you know what I mean? Other than that, like, everything else played out the way it should have, and it was just an overall good Rumble.
I think you can make the case that Triple H winning also played out the way that it's supposed to. But
yeah, that's a good point.
Well, when he writes the script, if I write the script, I'm champion all year long.
I know, but I think it makes sense for what they're trying to do.
Again, that feud could just be for the, McMahon family name, because you disrespected him, that's my baby mama, like, all that. Like, that really didn't need the belt for that to continue.
Yeah, but you want the belt to be your number 1 feud. So.
No, they want that belt to be the number 1 feud. Like, what I mean?
That's
like,
the point, though, but you want it to be.
But you're never going to bring anybody up if you keep that belt on the same person's waist 9 months out of the year.
It's been how long since Triple H has had the title? I mean,
and it's going to go right back to Reigns. Like,
okay, but the point that they're trying to do is whether we believe it's right or not, that they're going about this the wrong way, shoving Reigns down our throat. Vince wants to go against the grain, and he's going to do it as long as he has to try to prove that Reigns is over, and he's over in certain places and he's not in many others. And, I'm going to stand by this. His ceiling is Randy Orton. He will never be John Cena.
Well,
he is another Randy Orton.
Before the, full-on pushing of the company, I thought he was more over. He had the boos and the ass, but I thought the ass were more. And then once, like even back in the day, everybody lost. Like that was like the Rock and Triple H feud. They lost, they won, they got their comeuppance later. You know what I mean? It was just, you don't have to win every time. Like I think the week the League of Nations debuted, like they gave a lick into like Reigns and a couple other guys on Raw, and then on SmackDown he single-handedly dropped them all. Like, no, like get out of here.
Sean.
What?
You just mentioned that you feel that Roman Reigns' ceiling is Randy Orton level. I think they already have the next John Cena level ceiling on the roster, and his name is Dean Ambrose, and he proved it tonight.
Well, I mean, I don't think that's wrong. They've had it there with Dean for a long time. Just they don't want to do anything with it. I don't know if they feel like Dean's just a guy that's always going to be in a certain spot or whatever it is, but definitely they have something there in Dean if they ever want to really pursue it.
It's coming. It's been promised. That's all I'm saying. It's been promised.
For sure.
Fonty would know.
Yeah, insider. He knows it all. He's the Adam Schefter of the
He
WWE.
knows insider about Dean Ambrose.
I would call myself the Dave Metzler, but my stuff's right more often than not.
Oh, jeez, now.
There you
Burn.
Wow.
I don't want Meltzer coming in here telling me anything. It's
Yeah.
I just
Hey.
want Fonty to stop talking about wanting to get inside Dean Ambrose.
Ooh.
oh,
Ooh. Once again, that wasn't me, guys. I didn't say that.
I never had that conversation with Harry either, so I don't know what he's fantasizing about when I'm not around.
I just want to say that as long as he's not trying to get inside of Sonny either. Moving on.
all right.
Yeah,
See,
let's
it
go
all
on.
goes back to that crap again.
Yeah.
Okay.
So. Anyway, so let's talk about the worst match of the night. That is going to be something that I think is pretty close to unanimous. And that is, of course, the U.S. title match. Kalisto winning, but that's not why, most people didn't
I
like
think we should preface this by saying more like the weakest match. Not that it was bad.
Exactly, but Patrick, explain to me why it deserves, though, the least favorite.
Well, originally I said the Divas match, but more that we've kind of talked about it. The more I realized, no, you guys actually were right. It is the U.S. title. I think it has to do with what we've been talking about earlier, and that's Del Rio just kind of going more into his laid-back kind of I don't really care mode. Because, like was said, when Del Rio's on, he is damn good. And I thought for kind of the first half of the match, Del Rio was on, but then he just kind of slid back into that normal status quo kind of attitude, and that's kind of where everything, went downhill. And, I've always, spoke the praises of Kalisto, but if it's still a two-person job, and you're not going to be able to put on, a 4 or 5 star quality match unless you have trust. And I think part of it was there ended up not being trust in the end, especially once Kalisto messed up the step up code red, and after that it just seemed to kind of snowball down. I think is kind of what the issue was.
Yeah.
Exactly what Patrick said. Had those spots been on, that match would have been exponentially better. But it was just...
Even the Hurricane Rana into the exposed turnbuckle was not that great.
Yeah.
That's because Del Rio took a garbage bump into that buckle. He completely pussied out on it. Yeah.
And, those are a few of the reasons why the U.S. title match was not the best match. Of course, not even, equal to what, we were talking about the Divas match. So there you go with that. But we need to talk about something else that's important here, and that's the MVP of the night. And Dean Ambrose really did unanimously win. And overall, we all thought Dean Ambrose was the guy that really outshined pretty much the entire group here. Tom, give me your reasons why Dean Ambrose deserves that.
Performance in that first match, the opening, spectacular. And then he came out in the Rumble, and he made you believe that he could actually pull this out. And went all the way to the end with Triple H, so,
What a performance.
And the crowd was with him the whole time. So...
Paul, looking at that, the crowd was behind him, and he's a guy that I know people throw names like Stone Cold Steve Austin, different names out there that could relate to, what Dean Ambrose's character, who he is, and John Cena's name was mentioned earlier and kind of put together what, let's be honest, Dean Ambrose could possibly reach that level. Do you think that really is a possibility?
I don't know about Cena level. I certainly do believe top face for sure. The guy has it. He just got it. He's got everything going for him. He works super hard. He's got, he's just got it. Whenever they talk about it's Dean Ambrose.
And Harry, looking at this, does this say anything to you when you see Dean Ambrose being the guy that's in the forefront, the MVP of the night of the Royal Rumble, and he's not the center of this entire thing, but then again, he is in a way because he did a lot of work on this and did it well. What do you think?
I don't think there's any question Dean Ambrose is your MVP for tonight. 20 minutes, just a shade over in the last man standing match, and then goes another half an hour in the Royal Rumble. I reiterate what I said earlier in the fact that I don't like the fact that he was in the Rumble, but if there was anybody who would have gotten that crowd into a frenzy over being Final Two with Triple H, it wasn't Roman Reigns. It was Dean Ambrose.
Yep. For sure. All right, guys.
Dean
Well,
Ambrose, everything that Del Rio isn't.
Yeah.
Think
Couldn't
about
say
it.
any better. Yeah, you couldn't say any better, Tom. I mean, it's exactly right. Just the effort alone. So, the only thing we got to do left now is to rate this thing, guys. And so we're going to go around the horn. Everybody's going to give their ranking number. Of course, we do this on a 1 to 10 scale. 10 being the highest and 1 being the lowest. And just give me your rating and a couple of sentences why you think that this deserved that rating. Fonty, we'll start with you.
I gave it a 7.
We'll go with 7.
Fonty, explain to me why you think 7.
Well, it wasn't like overly spectacular, but it wasn't underwhelming either. It gave me I came into this expecting maybe it to be a 4, maybe 5, because lately the Rumbles have just let me down. And this one, like the AJ Styles coming in and staying in for a half hour, I honestly didn't think they were going to give him that long at all. And he came in, he did what he had to do, and he got out. All the rest of the matches were pretty much on. Like I said, had the U.S. title match not botched, that would have brought it up. And, the Divas match, had Man-Face Flair did better, we would have been good. And it was just it was one of those deals where try again another time, I guess. But overall, it was 7, a strong 7, not like a low 7. It was a strong 7.
All right. Tom, I heard you say 7 as well. Now, kind of give me your thoughts on why you think 7.
Well, because there wasn't take the pre-show out, there wasn't a bad match on the show. Wasn't blow away, but by the time the Rumble was over, you're left like, you know what? Got something to look forward to going forward, with all of those subtitles in the Rumble itself. I mean, I just love the booking of it, and we'll see what happens tomorrow, but at least right now it looks like something to look forward to with all the little stories.
All right. Harry, what was your rating?
I already answered this question on the Wrestling to the Max Facebook group, and if you haven't had a chance to do so, I highly suggest that everybody vote in the poll there. I gave it an 8.5, and in addition to giving it an 8.5, I said that for the poll itself, the hot crowd rounded it up to a 9. The reason I gave it an 8.5 is because every match delivered, and even the match that was the worst on the night, Alberto Del Rio and Kalisto, was just a couple of timed correctly spots away from being one of the better matches, too. There was nothing actively bad about this show.
Patrick, what did you think, and what was your rating?
I thought this was probably one of the strongest WWE pay-per-views in a very long time. I gave it an 8 myself, and for much of the reasons that Harry just gave, every match delivered in some way, shape, or form. And a lot. This truly was the start on the road to WrestleMania, the start on the road to Dallas, because now everything that you've got coming out of here, you've got Bray and Brock, you've got Triple H and Reigns, you've got Charlotte and Sasha, and where is Becky going to fit in, and everything just seemed to mesh really well. And botches can take away, but you can't put a hammer down on this. And yes, the hot crowd very much helped, and so this show easily for me was an 8.
Paul, what was your rating?
I'm looking at it as well. Dynamite opener, great Rumble, everything else in between was also good. Usually these guys, they come out of the Royal Rumble at a slow trot these last couple of years. This time around they came out with a bang and came shooting out of the door towards WrestleMania, which is always a bonus.
Sean?
Yeah, I'm going to go with an 8 as well. I think I mean, everybody kind of hit on it, really. I mean, you got what you wanted in the Rumble with, AJ coming. You got a surprise with Zayn. You got they killed it at the Open with the Last Man Standing match, and then everything else kind of, was in the good to very good range, and nothing was bad. So I don't think I can go any higher because of the fact that nothing in there was, aside from the Last Man Standing match, was like, oh, I'm gonna watch this a million times, or match of the year contender, or whatever, nothing like that.
Yeah, I was at about a 7.5, but I will round up just because I think the opening match with Dean Ambrose and Kevin Owens was solid all the way through. I think the rest of these matches on the undercard were well done. I think that they were well placed. And, of course, the Rumble itself had some great things going on in it, plenty of storylines. I think I could have gave it a 9, really, if they would have had bigger surprises, if they would have done some things that I didn't read about beforehand or maybe even had an idea of. If they really, truly would have had some big surprises, I think then you would definitely see me giving this a 9. But, I think 8's a great number. It's probably one of the higher-rated, shows I've done in a while, to be honest with you. So it's good stuff. And, of course, that is your Royal Rumble. We really appreciate everybody checking it out, and we've had a lot of fun doing it. We've got a few people that are going to go ahead and, head on into the sunset tonight because we are still going to do some Fantastica Mania discussions, but some of these guys, got to get up early and got to do some other things. And one of those guys is Mr. Patrick Ketza, Wrestling Unwrapped only. All right, he's the guy you want to go, check out at that show. And, of course, I want you to plug Wrestling Unwrapped and kind of give us some ideas what's going to happen next.
Thank you very much. And, yeah, obviously tonight, it's a special occasion, so we weren't able to do a show tonight, but we will be back at our normal time, thank God, 8 Eastern, 7 Central next Sunday night, as Harry, myself, and probably Sean, too, will be reviewing the 2001 edition of ECW Guilty as Charged, the final ever original ECW pay-per-view. And no, we're not counting it as 2 ECW pay-per-views, Sean.
Sorry, Patrick.
And then we'll be off the following week because of, that huge football game going on. And then I believe Valentine's Day, Sean and I have some plans to review St. Valentine's Day Massacre. So we should have a fun few weeks coming up, I think, on Wrestling Unwrapped with Harry, Sean.
I'm so glad you said you were going to review that because you were all like, me and Sean on Valentine's Day have plans to.
Yeah, I'm gonna fly all the way to Chicago. To...
No, seriously. Before anybody disappears, I want to ask a serious question. Like I had talked to Sean about this. They're talking about bringing in a sister Abigail. Isn't that kind of contradicting considering Bray Wyatt cut a promo? I sent it to Sean where he says he watched her take her last breath. Like the whole thing had been like she died and they're drawing all her power from her, like almost like Undertaker with the urn, and now they're going to put a face to that.
Well, they could. Miss Elizabeth still got pictures out there.
Oh, boy.
Oh.
Well...
Gary taking a whole nother level up there.
Jeez, Gary.
Okay.
This was a legit question, and you just took it to, like, the wrong level.
Hey, I had to get mine in somewhere, guys.
Leave the necrophilia to Triple H.
Yeah.
All right.
That's the Wrestling Unwrapped.
We might have just lost a bunch of people there.
No.
Yeah.
It's a joke.
Yeah.
Harry, finish the plug, Harry.
This is too far, bro.
Hey, we didn't even talk about this. How cool was AJ's music, by the way?
Oh, it was awesome.
It threw me off. I didn't know who it was.
I'm going to wait until I hear a full version of it. Just real quick, I'm going to touch on what Patrick said. We actually have tentative plans to do a show on Friday, February 5th, so that way we're not running up against the Super Bowl. But more details on that to come as they become available.
Definitely. And stay tuned to the W2M Network. That's where you're going to find out all the info on it. Of course, you can check out the Wrestling to the Next page as well and find out that information. So you want to go check out the Wrestling Unwrapped show. It is great. Lots of interesting tidbits that you may have never known. So, and of course, Harry, you do another show, and it's called, well, I'm going to let you plug it. I won't even say it. I'll let you plug it.
You can join myself, 411 Mania's Tony Acero, and the third man, Rick Balin, for the Raw Reaction Monday nights at 11:30 p.m. on DeMarco Wrestling Radio. The three of us, along with our most valuable producer, Jimmy Christopher, break down all of the events of Monday Night Raw, and especially tomorrow night as we officially kick off the road to WrestleMania. Once again, 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Myself, Tony Acero, and Rick Balin, the Raw Reaction.
Great show. Go check it out. It is a awesome show. Great guys on there. We, at least us Wrestling to the Max guys have been on that show, and it is a blast to be a part of. So, all right, guys. Well, I'm going to let Mr. Patrick Ketza and, of course, Harry Broadhurst go on. I know they got a busy day tomorrow.
And Fonty as well.
Well, yeah, Fonty. I was going to let Fonty kind of, say his goodbyes as well. Fonty, man, it has been a blast, and it's been a long time. Don't be a stranger, man.
Work schedule, man. If I ever get to do this again, I will, because I was so excited for this. I ain't even gonna lie. I love you guys. Love you guys.
Yes, cool guy. We appreciate you, Fonty, man, and we hope you get have a great night. And
Before I get out of here,
yeah,
I just want to say that I am the Executive Vice President of Talent Relations and the General Manager of Raw and SmackDown.
Thank you, Johnny Ace. Appreciate that.
you.
Now go ruin some more careers.
I'm going to go hop on my skateboard. I'll catch you later.
All right, dynamic dudes. See you later.
I'll see you guys.
Later, Patrick. Later, Fonty.
Seacrest out.
All right, guys. Well, that leaves a panel of 4. And, of course, thank you to Tom for sticking around with us. We've got to talk to New Japan, and we couldn't do it without you, Tom. So we got to talk about Fantastica Mania. And, Sean, I'm going to throw it to you, man.
All right, let me play the normal thing here to get us started.
King of Sport. New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Before we start, though, we have to talk about something bad. Reported today, Hiroshi Tanahashi has a dislocated shoulder. Don't know how long he's going to be out, but dislocated shoulders aren't good. So, another bad thing for New Japan, considering they're losing Nakamura after the next shows in about a couple days.
Is it so bad? I mean,
next weekend.
It's just one of those things. I just look at it as a positive for Naito.
Looking for the light in the darkness is Gary.
My boy's got to get to the main event somehow.
What do you think, Tom?
Tanahashi now in the blowout. That's actually bigger now if he's out for any length of time, because he just lost the other two guys, and I guess by process of elimination, Naito would be the guy.
Yeah.
And Goto.
And Goto.
Yep. And I mean, you still can't forget about Kyle. I mean, their top of the card is still fairly strong, and Tanahashi is held together by prayers at this point, because the dude, you keep hearing reports about how bad his back is, about how beat up he is, and all these other things, and it's just let the guy have his 3-4 months off. Just let him breathe.
No, don't even have to put him in there with Yano or whatever.
Oh yeah, I mean, another guy held together. I mean, like I said, he's made of cement. He'll be all right.
But is Tanahashi, is he getting to Hulk Hogan bad shape? Just gonna have to start having.
Well, obviously not. I mean, he's still delivering crazy awesome matches. So
Yeah, he's just on that next level, though. I mean, I don't know. He's how old is he? How old is Tanahashi?
He's
a different kind of athlete.
He's what, 39?
I think he's 38 or 39.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's
He's
the
39.
same age as
This
AJ.
weekend, man, this weekend he did jumps off the top rope to the floor all 3 shows this weekend. I couldn't believe that.
Yeah.
At a show that really didn't need it.
Yeah, no.
Exactly.
Oh man.
Well, I mean, Tom, did you watch all 3 shows?
Yeah, I crammed in all 3 shows in the last day and a half, actually.
I was able to
Actually, I
cram
saw 4
in.
shows. I saw the opening show also.
I crammed in the night 4, and then I got to, I think the second to last match on night 7, which was the one that happened on Sunday morning. I didn't watch any of night 6. From what I
it was 6 nights. So you saw all of Friday, and then you saw all of Sunday.
right. Yeah, I didn't see any of Saturday, but so I mean Friday is where we had the 2 big welterweight title matches, which Barbaro Cavernario and Titan probably had one of the better matches of the entire tour. I thought they knocked it out of the park with that one. Just both of them hitting crazy stuff to the outside. Like Cavernario, it's crazy. He's a big guy, right? You know, you don't see him being able to. He does that splash and he makes it look so effortless. He almost goes coast to coast with that thing. It's crazy. What do you think of the match?
He kind of land too, you know.
Yeah, he doesn't land on his knees. So everybody that keeps complaining about the fact that he's going to kill his knees, he lands on his chest first always.
And you talking about the one with Cavernario and Titan, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And freaking Titan, my God, he does this like where he grabs Cavernario by the legs and then he sends him out and he does this moonsault where it looks like he's almost about to touch the ceiling. It's insane.
That guy is spectacular. He's I thought a lot of these guys from CMLL are like almost performing like they're trying to look for a contract, you know. Like they were really on this tour.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one of the guys I really liked. It's more because he's like one of the best dancers. Fuego. He's really good.
Oh my God. He's unreal. You know what? He's been there now for several of the tours. I've seen him enough in Mexico. I'm surprised he's not a bigger star yet. He's got charisma out of the wazoo. I mean, he's really good.
Yeah, he's one of those fun mid-card guys for him down in CMLL.
I really like to
watch him.
They're
loaded with fun mid-card guys, yeah.
Echi Seto was another one of the guys that was just... I wanted to watch a match between him and Finley when they were done with that Lucha Atomica there.
Seeing Fuego dance today was Kushida. You haven't lived until you watch that.
Oh, and you need to watch Taiguchi on this tour. He dresses up like King Tut
my God,
during this tour. This guy is taking it.
He dressed up like the Chikara guy. What's his name?
Amasis?
Ophidian, I think.
Oh, Ophidian.
Yeah, Ophidian. Okay. Yeah, he dressed up like that, and I was like, yeah, and it's just.
Oh man, he's taking that to like a whole other level now.
Yeah, and then I can't remember the Saturday show or what, but. My new favorite tag team of all time, Nakamura and Cavernario. Oh my God!
Oh my God! They were. No, that was today, and those two, you put them in a room together, I think they could light up an entire state.
Jeez.
Just Lord.
They had like the crossbones and they used the nunchucks and stuff. It was awesome.
It's great. And Nakamura has like a lucha mask on the whole time. Okada even had one on too. They all played the There was a part in that match where like Okada had to calm them down. He was just like, "Guys, y'all are getting a little bit way too into this." Like, it was great.
And then there was a part in the match where all three of them did the worm.
Oh.
Okada.
Yeah. Like, Gary, you need to watch this. Like, it's just.
That sounds like the most surreal thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yes, it does.
And I think it was the one on Saturday where they take off, because for two of the nights, Cavernario has a Fred Flintstone outfit on. And they take off his shirt, and he has Nakamura like a king of caveman style.
Nakamura, yeah. No, King of Strong style. He had the Nakamura logo. You know,
yeah, painted on his back.
Hang on, it was.
And see who. I mean, the best thing is too that like they let them have the CMLL guys got a lot of opportunities to show off here. Like the Bushi Dorada match was really good. Dorada just kind of came in their house on fire. Like, he was not playing around with Bushi. He was just like, he didn't even let Bushi take off his mask. He drop kicked him right into the corner, and it was on after that. They just went at it. And I love the fact that he like super kicked him when he was about to do the mist, and you see the mist flying or whatever.
The mist flying, yeah. The main event of that show was awesome. Was Volador and Mystico against Ultimo Guerrero and Mephisto. Oh my God, some of the dives in that match. I think I actually posted one of them. And I just like took my phone, just like took a took a video of Mystico doing this. Volador flips him up into the air, and he does a somersault, lands on Mephisto, and then spins around into a Hurricane Rana, all fluid without botching it. Oh my God, it was incredible.
You want to talk about incredible, though, probably already a Match of the Year contender. I mean, these guys have wrestled like 9 times last year, but Kamaitachi and Dragon Lee, my lord, they just tore the house down.
Yeah, they put several of the spots, like somebody put like the little video clips of them online. You must watch it. Actually, just must watch the match. That match was awesome.
There you go, guys. Y'all got
I think right now, 2016, from here on out, it's like Match of the Year from 2 on down, because Okada and Tanahashi was Match of the Year, but Dragon Lee and Kamaitachi, they put their name up there for number 2 already.
Yeah, and he's, Kamaitachi's already gone through losing his hair, losing his mask, and he did have a lot to say afterwards too. He said that his priority is that he wants to help make the juniors on the same level as the heavyweights, and that's a good sign for me.
We'll see what happens.
He says he credits Balor for like making it to where that could happen. He says it should happen again. But we'll have to see, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's a long keel to haul, because I don't know how much longer he's got in his excursion here in CMLL. This is his first title that he won to the lightweight title. So I don't know how much longer he's going to spend over there, but they need juniors, especially with this being Mascaro Dorada's last go with New Japan before he heads back to Mexico.
Yeah, they definitely do. I mean, anybody they can get on that. I mean, honestly, bring some of those CMLL guys with them and put them all in the junior division. I mean, I don't see why not.
If they put focus on it and you put some of those CMLL guys, that junior tournament this year could be off the charts, really, when you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think
and let Bushi have a little run now. Maybe feud him with Kushida or something.
Well, they're gonna have that the title match at New Beginning.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
I mean, but that thing could go on for a while because Bushi's got the character that he can be an evil heel, and I mean, I think honestly, like Evil's lacking behind as far as, he was supposed to be the big guy in the Los Ingobernables next to Naito, and it's really Bushi's the one that's kind of just taking it and running with it.
Bushi had really rejuvenated himself. I mean, he really looks like he's right on that cusp now, becoming like a big-time player. And speaking of Naito, the best part of those matches this weekend was that ring announcer. When Naito's ring entrance.
Oh my God.
Was the best. Naito was just, like, he was standing, like, way back at the, the entrance way, and he's waiting for his name, but the guy would not announce his name until he gets to the ring, and I don't even know what he was saying, but he just went, I don't know where he came up with all the stuff he said, but.
Just, the guy was saying a bunch of nonsense. Like, he's talking about, like, well, listen, this is Spanish, and they did this for every guy. Okay, so the Spanish announcer would go in and say a bunch of stuff about the guy or whatever, and then they finally say his name. And it's like, you're used to American or even the Japanese, they just get right to it. Oh, the Mexican guy, my lord. And then with Naito, it was like, he'd get to the ring apron and he'd be like, yeah, keep going. Just, he'd do the wave motion, like, just keep talking about me. It's all right. I don't know what you're saying, really, but just keep talking. There was, like...
Yeah, you think Ricardo Rodriguez, like, time 5 or whatever. That's pretty much what it was.
He said something about, like, a guy that will never turn down a woman, and he's never been here long enough to eat tacos, and other like, BS. It's like, all right. It's like they clearly told him to just keep saying stuff until he'd wasted enough time. Just
sounds delicious.
I wonder if I wonder if it was like a rib in the beginning, and then they just ran with it because it was so entertaining.
Yeah,
I certainly hope so.
I thought Juice looked good here too in his time. That he's definitely gotten used to the style now.
It seemed like he gelled with these guys more than the actual New Japan guys. Because they're more flamboyant, and I think that's what he fits into.
Right. I mean, the Kurgan crowd likes him. So, I mean, that works.
Yeah, they've gotten into him. Yeah. That crowd was incredible, too, because, like in the main events when Ultimo Guerrero would do his thing with the arms in the air, I mean, they all knew the Mexican gimmicks. They all knew, like, what to do, and the crowd was so hot.
I think
Mystico and Ultimo Guerrero just, like, they played to the crowd half the match. And then,
oh, yeah. We can't get out of here, though, without talking about, I mean, this was a send-off for Tanaka and Komatsu, and they were terrific. I mean, they were already doing some of the lucha stuff and just getting it in there with some of these guys.
I was really hoping they could get one win this weekend, just one. But true to form, we were on the way out, and yeah, it's going to be fun to follow them now.
You want to make anything of Nakamura still having the belt?
I think he turned it over today in a press conference after the show.
Okay.
I think. So. Also on the show today, they did like a little send-off for Dorada, too, because he's going back to Mexico.
Right.
Wow. Yeah, I think
overall... If anybody has not seen these shows, you have to watch these shows. These shows were just so fun, so entertaining.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, unless you're one of those that just doesn't like lucha for some weird reason. I mean, I know there's people out there. I think definitely you owe yourself to go watch all 3 of these, and I don't think there's really anything you need to skip. Everything's fun, and some of the later matches, the main events and stuff, are just really, really good, to great matches, So I think you can call this 6-night tour hit, certainly.
Sounds like a lot of fun. Yeah.
That's what these shows are designed for, too. It's like, the Tokyo Dome is like the Super Bowl. So your season ends, and before you start the next season, they just throw this little fun tour in there. It's just all fun matches. Nothing means anything. Just go out there and have fun. Nakamura wears a mask. Okada wears a mask. They do the worm. They play with nunchucks. I mean, it's great. Kushida dances.
Yeah. I mean, and Kushida came out wearing a mask of something that has to do with Back to the Future. I don't specifically know.
That's what I was guessing. Yeah.
I'll have to watch the movies again.
Yes. No, it was. Exactly.
Oh man, you gotta love it. So, this sounds great, and I sadly missed it, and you guys are motivating me to go watch it. And I'm sure if you have not, like me, watched it, this is something that you've got to check out. So, I know we'll be doing that pretty soon here. But yeah, I mean, this has been a lot of fun, guys. I mean, not only we get a good Royal Rumble review in, now we got a New Japan review that to me sounds like it was all entertaining. It had a lot of things for fans, and that's important. And so, not only that, you get a send off. A couple, like 3 of them, you guys said, "Wow, that's a lot of send offs from New Japan."
Yeah, and then about later this week, Nakamura will get his.
Yep, 30th is his last day.
Wow.
Yeah, we'll be talking about that show because that match could be amazing. Well, now you never know with Tanahashi. Hopefully, he doesn't have to miss. But I mean, Tanahashi, Shibata, and Goto against Ishii, Nakamura, and Okada, and that 6-man could be amazing.
For sure. A lot of great stuff to look forward to. I'm excited about it. So, but man, this pretty much concludes the show, guys. We've got a lot of stuff in, and definitely, want to thank the guys that showed up earlier. That's right, Fonty, Patrick Ketza, and of course Harry Broadhurst for joining us for the Royal Rumble review and everything else that we had fun talking about. Those guys are great, and definitely make sure you do go check out Wrestling Unwrapped on the W2M network. Very cool show. And a special thanks to you, Tom. We really appreciate you sticking with us the entire way, and of course talking Fantastica Mania. That was a lot of fun to hear you kind of give us some insight on that, man.
Pleasure.
So, but besides that, guys, don't forget, this coming Thursday night, we are going to have another Wrestling to the Max episode full of great stuff. We're not only going to be talking about some of this Royal Rumble fallout on Raw, we're also going to be getting into all the other productions out there, kind of like, some of the big news topics, and of course, talking Ring of Honor, TNA Impact, and some other great stuff coming this Thursday. So you don't want to miss that show at all. A lot of great stuff. Sean, anything else you want to mention before we get out of here?
Well, we, I don't know what day that is. Hold on. Well, we won't be able to talk about it on the show. We can maybe preview the card for that Road to New Beginning show that has the Nakamura send-off. And I don't know if we might just talk. I don't know if we'll talk about it the next week, or maybe if I get to watch it, we can do a special or something. If you're around, or hopefully the snow has not gotten worse by then.
Yeah, really.
Oh man, yeah, definitely. So, but I mean, if that's it, Sean, I mean, we've got lots of stuff to look forward to, and of course, if you want to know all the info straight to your phone, to any device you have, to go check out the news and the things that we've got coming for you, make sure you go check out the Wrestling to the Max Facebook page. It's got all your information right there for you to read, to know when we're doing things. And, if you just want to get it to your phone right away when it happens, subscribe. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Go find us, search it for us, and add us, subscribe, and it's right on your phone right the moment that it comes out, you will have the download available for you. And don't forget, hey, write a review. Rate us, review us, and just give us a comment on what you think about our shows. We really would appreciate it. It's one of those things that, it helps us a lot. We try to just kind of mention it, but it really does help us. So if you enjoyed what you've heard, we would really, really appreciate you doing that for us. Besides that, guys, we've had a great show, and we just got one thing for you to do, and that's remember, if you're not living life to the max,
not living life at all.
You know it.
Peace. Oh, my bad. Hold on. There.
Did.